When trust shatters, a family torn apart by a harmless prank. The warm summer breeze carried the sound of laughter and clinking glasses across the backyard as I watched my husband's sister, Sarah, masterfully working the crowd at another one of our monthly family gatherings. 5 years into my marriage, and I still marveled at how seamlessly I had been welcomed into this tight-knit group of childhood friends and family. Or so I thought. I should probably explain something about myself first. I don't drink alcohol. Not a drop. It's not a religious choice or a health kick, it's a survival mechanism born from a childhood that still haunts my dreams. You see, my parents weren't just alcoholics, they were monsters created by alcohol. The kind that turned our home into a battlefield, where my little brother and I learned to read the atmosphere like soldiers scanning for landmines. The sound of a bottle opening could signal the start of hours of terror, hiding under beds or in closets, trying to muffle our breathing as chaos erupted around us. Through years of therapy and the unwavering support of my husband, James, I'd managed to reach a point where I could attend social events where alcohol was present. I'd even become comfortable enough to joke about being the permanent designated driver. Sarah, my sister-in-law, had always seemed particularly understanding. She would make special non-alcoholic versions of her signature cocktails just for me, and defend my choice not to drink when new friends would press the issue. Everyone has their reasons, she'd say with what I now realize was a calculating smile. The monthly gatherings at Sarah's house had become a cherished tradition. The second Saturday of every month, friends from high school would converge on her beautifully landscaped backyard, sharing stories and creating new memories. I'd watched relationships bloom and break, celebrated pregnancies and promotions, and consoled friends through losses and setbacks. These people had become my family, filling the void left by my own broken one. That Saturday started like any other, except James was taking my 11-year-old brother, Tommy, on their first father-son camping trip. I'd had custody of Tommy since I was barely out of my teens myself, after our parents' rights were terminated. Watching James step into the role of father figure, teaching Tommy everything from baseball to algebra, had made me fall in love with him all over again. "Are you sure you'll be okay at Sarah's alone?" James had asked that morning, his brow furrowed with concern as he loaded camping gear into our SUV. Of course, I'd replied with a confidence I wish I could take back. "I've gone alone plenty of times. Besides, Sarah always makes sure I'm comfortable." The gathering was in full swing when I arrived. Sarah's husband, Mike, was at the grill, the smell of barbecue mixing with the perfume of summer flowers. A group of friends were playing volleyball on the lawn, while others lounged around the pool. It felt like any other Saturday, until it wasn't. Sarah approached me with her usual bright smile, holding 2 glasses of what looked like orange juice. "Made yours special," she said with a wink, handing me one of the glasses. I took a sip, expecting the familiar taste of citrus. Instead, the bitter bite of wine hit my tongue like an electric shock. Time seemed to freeze. The cheerful chatter around me faded into a distant buzz, replaced by the echoes of my childhood, breaking glass, screaming matches, the sound of my mother's body hitting the wall. My hands started shaking so violently that the glass slipped from my fingers, shattering on the concrete patio. That's when I heard it, laughter. Not the warm, friendly laughter I'd grown accustomed to at these gatherings, but something cruel and mocking. Sarah stood with 2 of her closest friends, all 3 of them giggling like they'd just pulled off the perfect practical joke. "Oh my God, you should see your face," Sarah managed between laughs. "We just wanted to see what would happen if you actually had some alcohol for once. Loosen up a little." The room started spinning. Black spots danced at the edges of my vision as panic clawed its way up my throat. Someone, I later learned it was Mike's sister Jenny, tried to step in, saying something about it not being funny, but I was already moving. I barely remember the drive home, my hands white-knuckled on the steering wheel as I fought to keep the memories at bay. James found me hours later, curled up in our closet, a childhood habit I thought I'd broken years ago. Tommy was the one who heard my muffled sobs first, his small face peering around the door with the same worried expression he used to wear during our parents' rages. The fury that transformed my gentle husband's face when I managed to explain what happened scared even me. In 5 years of marriage, I'd never seen him like this. His hands shook as he dialed Sarah's number, his voice thundering through the house as he confronted his sister. What I didn't know then was that this wasn't the first time Sarah had shown her cruel streak, just the first time she'd targeted me so directly. The next few days passed in a blur of emergency therapy sessions and tearful conversations. My in-laws' reaction surprised me most. I'd been terrified to tell them, afraid they would side with their daughter or try to minimize what had happened. Instead, they were horrified. My mother-in-law, Ellen, broke down crying, apologizing over and over for not seeing the signs of Sarah's behavior sooner. "We thought she'd grown out of it," my father-in-law admitted, his usual stoic demeanor cracking. "In high school, there were incidents. We sent her to counseling, but clearly it wasn't enough." Friends from the gathering started reaching out. Many hadn't witnessed the incident directly but had heard about it afterward. Jenny, in particular, was adamant about standing by me. Sarah swore it was just going to be a funny surprise, she revealed. But the way she laughed when you panicked. I've never seen that side of her before. I decided to try one last time to reach out to Sarah, hoping to help her understand why her prank had affected me so deeply. I sent her a carefully worded message, explaining about my childhood, my PTSD diagnosis, and how hard I'd worked to overcome my trauma. I thought maybe, just maybe, understanding would lead to genuine remorse. Her response came 3 days later, a venomous tirade that revealed years of carefully hidden resentment. She called me a dramatic attention seeker and a charity case. She mocked my brothers and my orphan status, suggesting James had only married me out of pity. The worst part was her revelation that she'd been planning this for months, waiting for a time when James wouldn't be there to protect his precious damaged wife. You think you're so special because you've had it rough? She wrote. You walked into my family with your sad story and your perfect victim act, and suddenly everyone's falling all over themselves to protect you. Well, guess what? Some of us can see through your manipulation. The message continued, each word more poisonous than the last, until she finally revealed what might have been the root of her hatred all along. James was supposed to marry Caroline from high school. She was perfect for him, from a good family, no baggage. But then you showed up with your tragic past and your little brother in tow, and suddenly it's like the rest of us didn't matter anymore. James's response was immediate and final, complete severance of ties. One message, you're no longer my sister, and then blocked numbers, deleted social media connections, a complete digital amputation of Sarah from our lives. Our in-laws, to their eternal credit, supported this decision fully. Family isn't about blood, Ellen told me tearfully over dinner the next week. It's about love, respect, and protecting each other. Sarah? She paused, wiping her eyes. Sarah lost sight of that somewhere along the way. The monthly gatherings have been transformed into what we now call Family Day, a time for those who truly care about each other to come together. Many of our friends chose to join us rather than continue attending Sarah's events. Jenny hosts sometimes, or we gather at my in-laws' house. Tommy has blossomed in this environment of unconditional love and support, finally free from the shadow of trauma that had followed us for so long. The healing process hasn't been easy. I still struggle with trust issues, and large gatherings can make me anxious. But I'm learning that family isn't defined by blood or birth certificates, it's built through love, understanding, and standing together through life's storms. As for Sarah, I hear she's started therapy, though whether it's genuine self-reflection or an attempt to regain her parents' favor, I'm not sure. Part of me hopes she finds peace with whatever demons drive her to hurt others. But I've learned that forgiveness doesn't mean allowing toxic people to remain in your life. Sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is walk away and build something better from the ashes of what was lost. The trauma of that day still lingers, but it's different now. It's wrapped in the warmth of my husband's unwavering support, my in-laws' love, and the knowledge that I'm stronger than any cruel prank or hateful words. In the end, what was meant to break me only served to show me who my true family is, not the ones bound by blood, but the ones who choose to stand beside you when others try to tear you down. Tommy asked me recently if I missed the old gatherings at Sarah's house. I thought carefully before answering, wanting to be honest without passing on my pain. I miss who I thought she was, I told him. But I love who we've all become without her. And that's the truth. Sometimes it takes a shattering to reveal what's truly unbreakable. Our family may be smaller now, but it's stronger than ever, built not on obligation or blood ties, but on a foundation of love, understanding, and the kind of loyalty that can weather any storm.